So what if everything you've ever heard about earning respect as a new manager is just completely wrong, particularly as it relates to getting the respect of experienced team members? Listen, I've spent years coaching managers on how to accelerate trust and respect on teams where the manager is younger and sometimes just less experienced than half of their team. And along the way, I've learned a thing or two on what actually works. So in this video, I'm going to show you the approaches that are outdated, that way you stay clear of them, what experienced team members actually need from you in order to respect you, and I'm going to give you a simple diagnostic approach that you can start using within your first few weeks as a manager or as a reset that will completely change the dynamic between you and your team. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the approaches that do not work when it comes to earning respect of experienced team members. And I don't want you to skip this part of the video to go to the end of the video where I'm talking about the tactical adjustments, because in order for you to know what adjustments you have to make, you have to be certain that you're not actually doing the very things that are negatively impacting the respect, okay? So definitely hang on. I'll get to the tactical stuff, but let's first discuss the approaches that do not work. Now, if we're being honest, which we are, I'm sure you would agree that when you're new to experiences where you might feel in over your head with an audience that is essentially observing your every move, it is so easy to fall into the trap of trying to prove yourself. And it is no different in a management role. Many managers, when they're placed in a position where they feel like they're the least experienced person in the room, try really hard to show that they are capable and that they deserve the position. And honestly, it makes sense in a way because obviously you want your team members to trust that your promotion wasn't a mistake. You want them to see that leadership made the right call by putting you in that position. But here's the twist. Proving yourself as a leader is a bit like trying to win over a cat. The more you chase after their approval, the more they dart away. You see, when you operate from a posture of, I need you to see that I'm worthy of this role, well, you're now operating in a space where you're seeking permission. Now, of course, you want them to follow your lead, right? You want them to want to respect you, but you don't want to be a leader that is so desperate for their approval that you're essentially just chasing their acceptance. Now, some people actually go to the complete opposite extreme of doubling down on their competence by plastering on the nice. They're the ones that are just trying to be everybody's friends, and they bring donuts and cupcakes, whatever they can to show appreciation. That way their team members will like them. And again, even this approach kind of makes sense in some way because most likely what these managers are thinking, well, if they like me, then they'll work really hard for me. Or if they like me, then they won't undermine me and it'll make for a really positive experience. But the problem that exists with this approach is that the lines of authority often get blurred. And managers who do this become overly agreeable in situations where they should be decisive, or they're the managers that end up just avoiding any friction. Another approach that I've seen often is the, well, you've been here longer than me, so what do you think we should do approach. Now, on the surface, there is nothing wrong with getting the input of a more experienced team member, but done incorrectly, it can actually backfire. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this in terms of how it can backfire. So I was doing a training in an organization. I was brought into this organization to train their managers. And as part of the training, one of the things that I had to do was talk to these managers' team members, okay, to kind of understand what skills these managers had to improve upon or get trained on. And so I was talking to one new manager's experienced team member. Hopefully you follow that. He said to me, Mac, if she's just going to defer all her decision making to me, then I'm not entirely sure why she's getting paid more than me or why she even has that title. So that is coming straight from an experienced team member's mouth where he was like, I don't even understand. Like, what's the purpose of her if she's just going to ask me all the time what I think she should do? As you can see, all of these approaches that I just surfaced are ineffective and honestly come from the exact same place, right? The desire to manage the perception rather than focusing on the actual job, which is leading. So now the question becomes, well, if all of those outdated approaches don't work, what actually does work? Well, the approach that works is the one that actually acknowledges the truth of the matter, which is that experienced team members really respect a manager who understands what each person needs to be successful and then delivers it consistently. Now, that is somewhat of an oversimplification of what they desire, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna prune it down to this one thing, right? Meet their needs consistently, and you've got a basic level of respect. So how do you actually figure out what your team needs from you so that you can earn their respect? Well, you have to start by uncovering what each person values most. Key word being on value. Do they thrive in autonomy? Do they use the word trust often in their communications with you? Is there hesitation when you ask for too many check-ins? Or do they seem frustrated when you ask them to walk you through their process? Or do they light up when you say, I trust your judgment on this? Right? That will indicate to you that they are the type of person that values autonomy. Or are they the type of person that thrives on clear direction, recognition, or a sounding board for their ideas? Do they consistently ask for clarification on expectations? Do they want to know exactly what good looks like? Or do they ask questions of you like, what's the priority here? Or how do you want me to approach this? Do they seem even more confident when you give them a clear roadmap? That might indicate that they are someone that likes structure. Or are they the type that is more relational, right? Do they want to know more about you before they fully open up? Do they reference their past managers, good or bad, as a way to just give you some context? Do they seem to perform even better after the both of you have had a personal conversation? That would mean that they are more relational, right? These indicators that I just gave you will give you a world of information around how you should focus your time and efforts with your team so that you can earn their respect. But of course, now the question becomes, well, how do I figure out where they land? Like, I understand the categories. Some people like autonomy, some people like structure, some people are relational, but how do I figure out where my team member is? Well, it's a combination of being observant and just straight out asking. So remember earlier when I was kind of describing the actions of those different categories and how they might communicate? Well, if you're staying open and you're being observant, then you will hear and see those actions daily in your daily ops. And if you're new and you want to accelerate the trust levels because you haven't been around enough to actually observe, then you can just ask. There are actually 2 questions that have proven to be very effective for the managers that I train. And here are the 2 questions that a lot of the new managers ask that have accelerated the trust levels because they understand what the team member needs. So the first question is this: tell me about a manager who got the best work out of you. What did they do that made you feel supported and motivated? And then the second question is this: if you had to manage yourself, what would you do to get the best results out of you? Those 2 questions, y'all, have worked really well for managers that have asked it, and they have really gotten a lot of information about their team members so they can deliver in that way. Listen, when you shift from trying to prove yourself to now diagnosing what your team really needs, everything changes. You ask sharper questions, you direct in a more clear manner, and you deliver exactly what each person needs in order to be successful. And just like that, over time, you're earning their respect without over-indexing on it or forcing the issue. That being said, understanding all of this in theory is easy, but actually putting it into practice, right? Diagnosing your team, adapting your style, and then showing up with a sense of clarity and confidence that actually earns real respect is hard. And I think that's why so many managers get stuck here, because they understand, but they don't really know how to put it into practice. The reality is management, when you're doing it alone, can be a real pain in the rear end, which is why so many have chosen to have someone in their corner, right? Someone who can spot their blind spots, who can challenge their thinking, and also give them honest feedback while they are navigating the tricky situations that often surface on a team. And that's exactly what we do in the New Manager Accelerator together all the time. And I actually mention it because for this quarter only, y'all, we are offering a bonus with your enrollment, which is a one-on-one personalized team audit with me, where we're going to identify the specific friction points on your team, map out what each team member needs from you, and create a personalized action plan so you know exactly where to start. So if you are ready to stop spinning your wheels in all areas of leadership and actually show up confident and effective, hit the link in the description box below to book a call with me to learn more about NMA to determine if it is a good fit for you. That way you can get your hands on that one-on-one call with me to do a team audit, which is actually normally something that I provide for organizations that bring me in to train their managers. But for the next quarter only, I'm actually adding it to NMA. It's just for a limited time only. So definitely book a call with me using the link in the description box below so you can get enrolled before the bonus expires.